I'm going to make this a brief video about this board game called In Pursuit of Par Tournament Players Club Sawgrass Edition. Just put the camera here so we can get a better look at it. I think that's it. So this is the one we're looking at here. Tournament Players Club In Pursuit of Par. That's the the title of the game. It's a game for 1 to 4 players, and it is a golf simulation game. It is called a Sawgrass Edition because it's based on the actual fairway right there in Ponte Vedra, Florida. All right. So the whole game comes in 4 double-sided boards. Each of them has a different has 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I believe it's just 2 or 3 different holes on them. So you have boards like this. You turn it around and you get this. All right, so you would finish the holes and you just use a different board to go through all of 18 holes. Now this is a golf simulation game, so all of the usual rules for normal golf apply. And of course the scoring. In the scoring, the person with the lowest score wins. Here, in order to start the game, you must first choose a starting spot. In this case, you would use one of the ones that are available here, depending on your expertise. You know, just like in a real golf course, you have different starting points. Here, let's check this one. Sorry about that glare. You have here this red one, which is farther away. The white one, which is the normal one. Then a closer one here was the blue, and then this yellow one, which would be the closest one. And usually the white one is the one that is used. So to start your game, what you would do is you would throw 2 dice, one normal 6-sided die and a 12-sided die. Now the normal 6-sided die is to determine your distance, and the 12-sided die determines the angle of the shot. Once you have rolled, well, first you have to choose a club, you know, beforehand, before you roll, and you will use this handy chart. Let's see if we can focus here. Here we got the woods, the irons, pitching wedge, sand wedge, and pitching chip shots with a long, medium, and short a club. All right, the putters is that last one. And over here we have another chart for the angles. So once you choose the club that you're going to use, let's say I use this number 3, and I rolled a 3, then that means my distance would have been 225 yards, and so that's how you determine it. And let's say I rolled over here with the 12-sided die. Let's say I rolled a 2. That would mean that my shot was 7 degrees to the right. As you can see, there are several options right there for the angles. The best one, of course, is the straight shot, which you can get by rolling either a 1, a 4, an 8, or a 12. And the rest are variations of 7 degrees left, 7 degrees right, 14 degrees left, or 14 degrees right. All right. Well, once you determine the distance and the angle of your shot, you will use these distance gauges to mark where your ball landed. So you will put to the very end of it right here at the beginning of your shot, which will be right here. You align it with this arrow. That would mean the normal straight shot. You align it like so, and then determining whether you got a shot that was either left, right, or 14 degrees left or 14 degrees right. All right. In the case of the one we had right now, which was let's see, what did we say? If we were using the 3 and you roll the 3, will be 225 yards, which would put you about here. You would mark the place you landed with one of these grease pencils. Just mark it right there with a little dot, and it just wipes off afterward after you play the game. Now, in case that you may have landed on any problem area, like maybe one of the rough areas right here, or in the trees, or outside of the playing field here, in the sand, you'd have to roll an additional die for your next shot. You would roll this red die along with the first 2, with the 6-sided die and the 12-sided die. And what you do, you would again use the distance and the angle, and plus you would use this red chart to determine what your penalty was. It may be that you got a 3 and it was a clean shot right here, in case you landed in the rough, in a waste area, behind a tree, under a tree. Each one of those tells you here what your penalty is, depending on what you roll. All right then. Right here on the board, it tells you exactly what the par is for each hole. In this case, in the first one, it's a par 4. That means that if you make reach the hole in 4 shots, you're in par, which is good. If you are below par, that's even better. All right. And once you reach the green, now the green is the greener area here around the little flag, which is the end hole. All right. Once you reach the green, you would then putt, and to putt, you would only use the 6-sided die. Again, you would choose which putter you're going to use, and use this chart right here. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and depending on if you use the long one or the short one, you add the number of putts to your score. If you land on the green outside of the black circle, here, I don't know if you can see it. Well, let me just grab another board so we can get a closer look. Here, if you land out on the green but outside the black circle, you would use the long putt chart. And if you are on the green but inside the large black circle, then you would use the short putt chart. And if you land on the green inside of the small black circle, it's as if you had made the shot, so it's just a one shot. All right. Well, there is one area in this game that's a bit problematic, and that's concerning the red die, because according to this to the chart that you have here, many times when you are in a problem area, you are very close to the green, and any penalty you have results in you having a negative yardage, meaning as if you had to hit the ball backwards, which of course in real golf is next to impossible. So that's really the only thing that I think is I'm not going to say broken with the game, but yes, it's a bit confusing, and it takes you out of what would happen on a real golf course. So what I have done when playing this game is that I have made a house rule where if whenever the penalty for the red die gives you negative yardage, you just stay where you are, meaning as if you had missed the ball entirely. So that way you can sort of fix a bit what's going on here. All right. Well, it's 18 holes for the whole game. Takes about an hour to play. Once you get the hang of it, it goes by pretty quickly. And the scoring for golf is scored on these charts that are included, just as if it was real golf. So at the end of all 18 holes, you add it up, and the person with the lowest score wins. And if you're wondering if it's possible to have a hole-in-one, yes, it is possible. If you land, of course, within this small black circle in one shot, which in most of the fairways it's not possible, because the length that you have with the drivers doesn't give you that kind of length. In the short ones, it is possible. All right. Well, I have played this game. It is fun. Even if you're not a golfer, I think it's pretty entertaining. Pretty much the only decision you have to make is which driver or putter you're going to use. Other than that, it is just the luck of the throwing of the dice. But even so, it's a pretty fun game. I'm sure there are other golf games out there that are more realistic or have more variables. But this is a simple game. This is a game that came out in 1988 and was supposed to be, I believe, a part of a series of games where other games would also have reproductions of famous fairways. But as far as I know, this was the only one that was made. Well, thank you very much for watching, and so long.